Please welcome Verena Finkenzeller, BMW Foundation, Herbert Quandt.
Hi everyone, I'm Verena, Program Director of the Respond Accelerator, part of the BMW Foundation. And it is my pleasure to introduce Niklas from PULSETRAIN to you today, a team that I got to work with closely during our program, and that is truly rewriting the rules of electric mobility. So why did we nominate them? They stood out when it comes to how we think about EV batteries as something that is no longer just a passive component. So their technology integrates inverters, chargers, and battery management systems into one singular module. And with that, in the end, we were able to charge batteries faster, they have higher ranges, and also last up to 80% longer. And with this, I believe Niklas and their team are really breaking the wall of EV battery performance limits.
Breaking the wall of EV battery performance limits. Niklas Lehnert, PULSETRAIN.
So every once in a while, a really breakthrough technology comes around. And that is especially important when it comes to the transformation of going from a combustion engine-based mobility to a battery-based mobility. And the reason why is that around 50% of the CO2 emissions of EV production process is coming from the batteries. Second, we still face a quite poor user experience when it comes to charging times, ranges, and also the price point. And third, we still think in a straight line. We produce, we use, and we recycle. And with this, wasting a vast amount of our resources simply because there is no good way of reusing or extending their lifetime. And that's exactly where PULSETRAIN jumps in. We have a combination of hardware and an operating system that significantly extends the battery lifetime. It is speeding up the charge and also significantly reducing the CO2 footprint of those batteries by up to 4 tons per vehicle. And this two-folded technology also translates in a two-folded business model. Because with this, we now have the opportunity to generate single-time payments for our hardware component, but at the same time opening up the cosmos of software as a service in the mobility industry, because we now have the opportunity to optimize your vehicle over its whole lifetime and keep it up to date while using it. And this is really a seismic shift for the mobility. And as Verena already said, the battery stops being a passive component, but really starts to be a smart brain within your vehicle. And the market we are talking about is not only automotive. It's more than $50 billion if you include the two-wheelers, the non-road, the off-road, and in the future, definitely also the electric aviation sector. And that definitely and luckily also creates some competition, because likely if you have no competition, there is no market. There are small players like Scalvi from the US, which are heading into the same direction but are quite far behind us. And there is the large players like Stellantis, who just recently had a press release also going into the direction of software-defined power electronics. And that's what PULSETRAIN is best in, and we are definitely the pioneers in this field. And I'm also happy to show you that we already have some contacts in the customer world operating in the non-automotive field together with Handmann, but we also have some significant contracts in the two-wheeler space with the German OEM, and the same is true for the automotive industry, also a German OEM. And last but not least, in the Asian market, we just recently signed a joint development together with a big Japanese tier 1 supplier. And this partnerships also opens up a quite large vision for our revenues. And we are planning to launch our first product in the non-automotive area in late 2027 and translate this into the automotive industry at early 2029. And we're not only talking about scaling a business model, but we're also talking about scaling a sustainable CO2 reduction when it comes to mobility. And the team behind this vision has already 2 exits. We raised more than 500 million in funding, and we are quite experienced in scaling and building sustainable and profitable business models. And I'm now inviting every one of you to take this opportunity to not only build a globally scaling business model that transforms e-mobility, but also take on one of the greatest decarbonization challenges we have in our time, and this is simply reinventing mobility for every one of us. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay, questions first with Stefan, then with Andrea, then... Yes, first we'll take this.
Okay, fascinating. What I did miss in your presentation is competition from China. Can you elaborate a bit on that one?
Yeah, very good question. What we see in China and has been seeing in China for the past was really elaborating on producing battery cells. So the production process behind the battery cells, and they are far ahead of us. What they have not been innovating so much on was the power electronics and software side when it comes to really managing those battery cells. And they are definitely innovating on this, especially BYD, who has an extremely vertical integration, but they still heavily focus on optimizing on the production process and the battery cell itself. And we are basically the interface in between the battery cell and the energy grid and also the vehicle. And what they are doing is still going into the conventional direction and optimizing the conventional direction with like a more folded powertrain concept and not so much on these integrated concepts as we are doing.
Mm-hmm. Next, please, Andrea.
A little bit the same question, but I would have another one. Could you give some examples for the non-automotive sector where this could be used?
Everything that is connected to agriculture and construction, especially in the European Union, we currently even see regulations that are forcing the builders to provide an electrified vehicle setup. So if you're not able to provide an electrified vehicle on the construction site, you're simply not able to apply for this construction site. So construction machines, then also agricultural machines. And now, due to the time, also defense is quite an important and new field for this.
Andreas, please.
Thank you. This has been very impressive. You mentioned the extension of EV battery life, but you also alluded to the option of circularity. How would that work, and how does your technology contribute?
Basically, as we are talking about an operating system on the software side, the software defines the use case. And the software can also define if we are operating in a vehicle or if we are operating, for example, in a stationary storage. So if we think about the life cycle, starting in a first life in mobility and transferring the battery pack into a second life in stationary, this is no longer a hardware question. For us, this is simply software. So we are basically giving you an update like on your laptop, and we're good to go for a new application without changing the hardware.
Okay. Sorry, I have to give the priority to the jury, but I have you in mind. Please. 1 minute, 20.
Thank you. What exact innovation on both the hardware and the software side enables you to increase performance and extend lifetime?
The combination of both and using latest semiconductor technology. We're also operating and developing in the semiconductor field. And this combination of optimizing the software for a very specific semiconductor and operating then on a cell level with algorithms that are using battery data that we're generating on our side is basically creating the benefit on the lifetime extension. And when it comes to charging, we have a very specific way of how we are charging the batteries, like based on the hardware components, that gives us the opportunity to simply charge faster without damaging the battery cells.
Okay, I don't see jury questions, so I take this audience. We have another jury question? Oh, you're good. Oh, sorry. I cannot hear from the left ear. I'm like, I have my in-ear, so I don't know. Sorry for that. Okay, so 24 seconds. Short question, anyone? Everything is clear? Okay, make it very fast. 15 seconds. I'm really generous right now. So short comment, short question, yes, no answer.
How about the safety of the battery stacks, like if you, for the storage?
Also increases because as we're operating on a cell level, we can also see when one of the cells is like deviating from the other ones and can even suppress this effect or remove it from the stack. Mm-hmm. More safe.
Very good, very good, very good timing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.